Good afternoon, basketball fans. You are tuned into BRTV for OCAA Women's Basketball, the Humber Hawks and the St. Clair Saints. I'm Josh Rawlings, joined here by Stephen Boyles. Nailed it. Stephen, we got some keys to the game here. Who should Humber be looking out for on their side as the number 14 Saints take on the number 1 Hawks?
Well, ordinarily, Jill Semple's got the size advantage and can do what she wants, but today it's going to be a little bit of a different story. Shannon Kennedy, the 6-foot forward at a Windsor for the Saints, is a real threat. She's averaging 15.7 points a game and an even better 8.6 rebounds. She's the real deal.
She is the real deal. Some would say the real McCoy. And on the other end, for the Hawks, who should St. Clair be looking out for?
Well, the Hawks are just going to have to stick to their bread and butter like we saw yesterday in their game against the Lambton Lions. It's going to be Leticia Lopez, Alina Domingo, and CJ Nofuente that they're going to go to on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. They keep things moving. They're the threats. And
CJ Nofuente, our nickname for her is CJ Always on Fuente. And we're looking forward to this great matchup here between the Hawks and the St. Clair Saints. Tip-off coming soon.
Hoping for a slightly more competitive one than we saw yesterday.
Well, it's always competitive between these two teams, so we're looking forward to see. Humber, I believe, has a 7-1 overall record against the Saints, so the Saints may be able to turn it around this time, maybe push that record to 7-2.
One could only hope, because these Hawks are looking dangerous all over the court, defensive and offensive. Yesterday we saw them up by 50 points, and they didn't let up for a second. It was scary.
It was indeed terrifying for the other team to watch, and on the other end for Humber, incredibly satisfying. Head coach A.J. Sharma is definitely happy with the play of his team as a whole, actually increasing some other players' roles as a result. Alina Domingo making the jump from the sixth man to the starting lineup. Thoughts on that?
Well, Sharma knows how to keep a positive vibe in the room, and that's why they call him Good Karma Sharma. I think it's an excellent decision to go with Nofuente. She's now leading the team in scoring. She's become a star.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the next here at the Humber Athletics Center as we get set for this regular season matchup between the St. Clair Saints.
And just going through the lineups for both teams, starting 5 for each. For the St. Clair Saints, we have Cheyenne Riggin, Aaliyah Martin, Leah Beller, Shannon Kennedy, and Tori Hansor. And for the Hawks, CJ Nafuente, Steph Entree, Jill Semple, Amber Bayshard, and Alina Domingo, making the jump recently from 6th man all the way to starting small forward. Tip-off coming here in a few seconds.
Domingo recently moved into 5th on the all-time Hawks scoring list.
Same. And tip-off for the Hawks, succeeding. Nafuente bringing the ball up, bringing it into entry, swing to Boyington, to Lopez for 3, just off the rim as the Saints take possession.
And that ball movement has been key to their success all year. They're going to have that continue this afternoon to beat these Saints.
Absolutely. Martin swings to Kennedy. To Riggin. Riggin with the drive. Pull up. Ooh, didn't call bank. Ergo, it didn't fall in as Nafuente brings it up the court and drives with a nice shot. Just short, but grabs her own rebound in true CJ fashion.
Nafuente is everywhere right now, setting the tone early, making her teammates work for it.
Swing from Nafuente to Semple. Semple with that good all pull up. Just short on the rim. Looks like the shots in warm-ups were not enough for the Hawks.
I was watching. It did look like they had a pretty structured warm-up. But again, it doesn't matter what you do before the game. It only matters when you execute between those quarters.
Absolutely. Riggin with the misses. Nafuente hauls in the board. Swing up the court from Nafuente all the way to Semple. Little bump, and that's going to be a charge on Semple. Bad call early for the Hawks.
On a size mismatch like that, it's hard to commit to taking a charge that hard. Good on her.
That's a dedication for sure. As the Saints inbound the ball, Beller with the handle. Taking it up the court, looking like smothered defense from Nafuente. Swing from Beller all the way to Riggin. Rigging interior to Kennedy. Double coming, pulls up, and rolls it in.
Kennedy just dominating out there. She looks like American royalty.
That's exactly along the lines of that. Jay-Z and Beyonce would be proud. Bayshard swings to Nafuente. Nafuente to Lopez. Careful with Lopez. She's got that great crossover. Unfortunately, mishandles the pass, but to her benefit, falls out of bounds and is still Humber ball.
Maintaining possession of the ball is going to be key for them. It was yesterday when they beat the Lions. They only turned it over 14 times, and if they can keep that number that low again, they'll have a great chance here.
Inbounded to Nafuente, who drives it in for the nice shot. 2-2's the score. As Kennedy brings the ball up the court, putting the team on her back as she swings it. But unfortunately for the Saints, that's going to be a travel call. Early turnovers here seem to be the name of the game so far.
You can't be that careless in the offensive zone. Giving that ball up for nothing is never a great way to get to the win.
Lopez with the swing to Semple, all the way to Bayshard. Back to Lopez. The drive, hesitation, swinging it over to Nafuente. Nafuente pulls up. Oh, and just off rim as the Saints rebound it. Martin bringing the ball up the court. Screen there by the Saints. Martin pulls up and hits it. What a nice shot right there from the Saints. That's going to count for 2.
It's too bad. Just had her foot on the line. Obviously a deep threat, though. The Hawks are going to have to be aware of that all afternoon.
Absolutely. As Nafuente drives the ball all the way up the court. Unfortunately misses, but Bayshard pulls it in and fumbles it, unfortunately, as Kennedy takes the ball up the court. Swings it back to Kennedy. Over to Hansor with the shot. And it's cash.
Again, a foot on the line. It's too bad these Saints just lost 2 points there with not watching their footwork. They should be aware of that.
Nafuente bringing the ball up. Pass to Entree. Over to Lopez. Swing to Nafuente. Screen by Semple. Watch that pick and roll, but CJ takes it for herself. Just short on the rim as Martin rebounds. Bringing the ball up for the Saints and pushing that high speed offense of the Saints. Good back and forth play by the Saints, but a little fumble there leads to the turnover and the Humber possession.
Excellent vision on the good and go. It's too bad they couldn't execute.
And too good for the Hawks as Nafuente swings it up to Bayshard, who gets the call on the other end of the court. That's going to be 2 shots for the Hawks on the foul.
Being aggressive early on is important if you want to set the tone early. Bayshard did that yesterday, and it looks like she's doing it again today.
Timeout call by the Saints. Great game going on here so far. 2-6 the score. Saints up by 4 with 6:33 in the first quarter. Steven, what are your thoughts so far in the game going on?
A couple of nasty turnovers and those missed 3 opportunities with your foot on the line, those hurt. The Saints could have a 6-point lead early, and these Hawks are relentless in their attack. Getting ahead early could be a key for them.
Absolutely. And on the other side, for the Hawks, what's the problems? What's the disconnects that are occurring as a result here? We're seeing a lot of lapses, a lot of turnovers. What can they do to fix that?
They just haven't made their shots yet. But that hasn't been the story all season. There's no reason to think it's going to be a problem. It's early. The girls are fresh. They should be able to turn this around.
Absolutely. Coach Sharma discussing with his team. And on the other side, Andy Kiss having a conversation with the Saints, trying to keep up that good pace they've had all game so far.
He is the leader of Kiss.
Gene Simmons who?
Exactly. They call him Gene in the dressing room.
My goodness. And play resumes here. Back to the free throw line is the Hawks and Bayshard, the free throw line. Amber Bayshard from Tecumseh, Ontario. 4th year. Hits the first, misses the first one. And off on both. Unfortunately, the Hawks only shoot 66% from the free throw line. Definitely something to look on improve as the Saints move the ball up the court. But the constant pressure of the Hawks is definitely affecting this Saints offense.
They're not giving them anything on the inside, and they're struggling to find space.
And just like that, the interior shot by the Saints is no good due to the smothering defense of Jill Semple. As Lopez brings the ball up the court and takes it up for herself. The great little play. Oh, the great back and forth, but unfortunately fumbled by Semple. Maybe thinking too much before that as the Saints bring the ball up the court.
You have to make those easy baskets. When Lopez finds you like that all alone, Semple needs to execute.
Absolutely. It was just a layup. And on the other end, a foul by the Hawks, which leads to the inbound for the Saints. Martin inbounds to Riggin. Riggin with the drive, left-handed scoop, and it's no good, but she gets the call. That's going to be on Lopez for 1. And that's the Hawks' first team foul, excuse me.
They're not afraid to foul. They're not afraid to play hard defense. And that could be the story of the game so far. There were way more points on the board at this time yesterday.
First shot by Riggin off the rim. Maybe need a little bit more knee on that one.
Hey, I can't shoot free throws. I'm not about to start criticizing how she does.
Oh, back in my day, I was an 80% overall free throw shooter. I can see which forms are correct and which aren't. As Riggin hits the second. 1 for 2 are the Saints overall.
An expert on the panel.
Good thing. Inbound to Lopez, and she drives into the interior of the paint, but swings it back out to Semple, who fumbles it, and the Saints take the possession of the ball.
That is an excellent steal there by the Saints, seeing that Semple was not looking at the ball and taking advantage.
And the tip by Entree leads to the Saints' possession on the inbound as Martin inbounds. Martin inbounds to Kennedy. Kennedy thought about swinging it back, but chose not to. This Humber defense, is not allowing anything in the interior. As Kennedy pulls up for the J, but it's no good. As Nafuente rebounds and takes the ball up the court. Swing to Lopez. Look at that, she's wide open. She pulls up and drains it. Nothing but net. 4-7 is the count.
An absolutely beautiful play there by Nafuente to find a wide open Lopez. It's obvious that the Saints overcommitted on Nafuente there.
Absolutely. Martin with the J. No good as Lopez grabs the rebound and drives the ball up court. Bayshard was open in the interior, but she chose not to. Swings it to Nafuente. Nafuente to Semple with a big man move and no good. Hitting rim as the Saints grab the rebound and Martin brings the ball up the court.
So far, that's been the story. Jill Semple's now missed 2 baskets down low, and she needs to have those. She needs to figure it out.
Kennedy to the interior. The hit, the hurry, the harm, but no point for the bucket as Nicole Tam goes up strong. Nicole Tam, 6-footer from Windsor, Ontario, in her 3rd year. Substitutions come in for the Saints as Riggins subs out for the Saints. And for the Hawks, subbing in is Beryl Meffel.
It must be really nice for Tam to finally get away from Windsor. I went there one time. I will never go back again.
Absolutely, as St. Clair nails the first free throw. Second one is good, and that extends the St. Clair lead to 5. Inbound to Lopez. Looking out for Bayshard there in the corner, and Lopez finds her. Swinged into Fuente. Back to Lopez. She going to pull up? No, chose not to. Swings to the interior. Untry. Tight defense being played here by the Saints, Fumble by Untry leads to the steal by the Saints, and Kennedy brings the ball up. Swings it to Tam. Swing out, and a shot by the Saints. Off rim, no good for the three-pointer, as Lopez dishes it out into the fast break, which leads to the easy point for Bayshard.
The Saints are going to want to slow this game down. We can see that things are breaking down with this back and forth. It's not to their advantage.
And Martin with the handle, bringing the ball up. Pulls up for the J, and no good. Hitting rim is Nefuente. Brings the ball up with that signature speed of hers.
A nice play there by Semple to find Nefuente, continuing in motion towards the basket. Great play by the Hawks.
8-9 is the score. The Hawks are only down 1, and they're keeping the hustle up, making sure to spread the ball around. They're sharing the sugar as the Saints bring the ball up the court. Martin handling. Tight defense here being played by Entree, but the Saints escape. Pulling up for the J is the Saints. No good, off rim. Rebound by the Hawks as Nefuente brings the ball up. Swing to Bayshard, who's wide open. Swing into the interior for Entree, but no good as the Saints kick it, and that is the repossession for the Hawks. Subbing in is Domingo for Entree. And for the Saints, subbing in is Riggin. Fuente with the inbound. They were having some troubles with this earlier in the season. Hopefully they're trying to fix that as Bayshard pulls up for the tray and hits back rim. But good hustle by Domingo. Grabbing the board, making sure to keep capitalizing. She swings over for the J. Air ball for the Hawks, unfortunately. Saints rebound, and bringing the ball up is Riggin. Riggin to Caldarelli. Caldarelli struggling. Back into the interior for Kennedy. Kennedy pulls up, and the shot. Hurry, the harm, the bucket, and the point for the Saints, extending their lead up to 11.
She really did show her size advantage there, backing down and not taking no for an answer. Awesome basket by Kennedy.
Timeout called by the Hawks. That's the first timeout called for them. AJ Sharma definitely not happy with the play defensively on the end for the Hawks. A couple of fumbles here and there, and that's not leading to good offensive turns.
It's been mishandled balls on the defensive side and unfinished opportunities on the offensive. They need to tighten things up. It's still early. They have a great chance here to get back into the game before the end of the quarter, but they need to change things a little.
Absolutely, and definitely we'll be talking to Semple, saying, come on, you can hit those easy baskets. I know it. I believe it. Definitely trying to drill that into her head as she's easily lowballed a couple of easy shots.
Well, and Semple is a workhorse. They say she takes care of herself. Her body's a temple, Semple is what they call her. And I do not expect this to continue for the rest of the afternoon. She'll get it together and start making those easy baskets.
And again, we're seeing the highlighted real play of CJ Nefuente is really helping these Hawks to continue their wonderful scoring forward.
She's been absolutely dominant all season. It's been an absolute treat to watch.
Absolutely. Kennedy returns to the line for her one shot. Score is 8-11 for the Hawks with 2:55 left in the first quarter.
Kennedy made this happen herself. She has an opportunity here to complete the three-point play.
And she succeeds in completing the three-point play as Domingo inbounds to Lopez. Lopez swings to Bayshard, looking for that interior, swings it back to Nefuente. Lopez pulls up for a tray, and it rolls out, but that's going to be tipped off of the Saints and off of Kennedy as Humber gains possession again.
Great ball movement again on the outside, swinging it around and finding the open Lopez. It's a great shot.
And the nice, easy let-up into the interior for Domingo, but short arms it, and it's out for the Saints rebound as the Saints bring the ball up the court, and Kennedy's handling it, passes it to Riggins. Riggins with the drive, showing off those legs, but unfortunately loses the handle, but the Saints get it back. Riggins pulls up, wants to do it herself, and with the Rainbow J, brings it in.
The rainbow like that, she definitely had some pregame skittles.
Exactly. Swing over to Bayshard, back to Nafuente, into Domingo, posting up, using that size, blocked by the Saints. Saints rebound, bringing the ball up the court, is Kennedy. Kennedy to Riggin. Swing to Caldarelli. Caldarelli back to Kennedy. Definitely relying on Shannon Kennedy as she pulls up for the J. Dirk Nowitzki-esque move, shimmy shake, and the toilet bowl swirl for the bucket.
That is 2 turnaround shots in the key. Kennedy looks dangerous out there.
Absolutely. As Lopez pulls up for the shot, but no good. Scores 18-17 for the Saints. Saints are dominating with 1:45 left in the first quarter. Riggins swinging it to Caldarelli. Caldarelli with the drive. Thought about it. Didn't pull up. Beeler swings over to Hanzor. Hanzor, no good. But up.
And again, it is Kennedy with the size under the basket, picking up the rebound. We talked about that before the game, and she's going out and making it happen.
Absolutely. Lopez brings the ball up after the St. Clair point. 8-19 is the score. Handling it is Miefel. Over to Nafuente. Nafuente thinking she can do it herself. Pulls up. No good. 55 seconds left in the first quarter. Caldarelli bringing the ball up for the Saints. Swinging it. Oh, but a fumble there by the Saints. Holding on to it. Back to Caldarelli. Swing over there to Tam. And no good. But she gets the harm, and that was Tori Hanzor with the attempt there leading to the foul.
You got to make her earn it. You can't just give her that free drive to the basket. It's a good foul.
Absolutely. They are free throws, but you got to make them earn them as the substitution comes on for the Saints. And as well for the Hawks. Martin subs in for the Saints, and for the Hawks, subbing in is Oriwa. 2 shots here for the Saints. First one, no good for the Saints. Trying to pull up on the second one. Second one is cash, and a substitution here again for the Saints. Kennedy subs out, and subbing in is Riley Welsh. Inbound here by the Hawks by Oriwa into Lopez. Lopez bringing the ball up the court. Dribbles into the paint, drives, unsuccessful, swings it back out to Nafuente. We'll look for that backdoor cut in Amber Bayshard, but no, CJ wants to do it all on her own. The hit, the hurry, the harm, and the point for the Hawks.
An absolutely beautiful crossover there by Nafuente. She goes back to her bread and butter and takes it to the rack, bringing the Hawks within 10 here with 27 seconds left.
10-20 is the score with 27 seconds left in the quarter. CJ looking to complete the three-point play. And she succeeds in completing the three-point play. 11-20 is the score. It must be the shoes she's wearing, the Kobe 11s today.
They do have shake and bake features to them.
Absolutely. As the Saints handle the ball. A little back and forth, Harlem Globetrotters-esque movement, but unfortunately the Saints mishandle the ball and it leads to the turnover. Swing by Oriwa to CJ Nafuente. Nafuente handles it. 7 seconds left, 6 seconds, 5, 4, pulls up for the shot, is fouled. Does not hit the bucket, but gets the call.
Excellent play by Nafuente. Not to panic with the time running out. She found a way to get to the lane, and now she gives herself a chance for 2 at the line.
2 shots here for Nafuente at the line. And the first bucket is good with 4.3 seconds left on the clock. Second one comes up, and it's a little short. Clock's activated, but it's tipped out by the Saints. Bad miscue there by the Saints, which leads to the possession for the Hawks.
2.7 seconds left. Might be enough to get a shot off here. They could be within 5 by the end of this quarter.
Dumps it inside to Domingo, who pulls up for the end of the game, end of the quarter shot, but it's no good off rim. St. Clair leads by 8 after the end of the first quarter. Humber seems to be struggling against this St. Clair Saints offense, and especially the workload of Shannon Kennedy.
Shannon Kennedy has been an absolute monster out there and probably single-handedly the difference so far in this game. She refuses to be denied every single time she gets into the paint, and on the defensive side, she is absolutely no slouch.
Absolutely. The turnaround J, the Dirk Nowitzki-esque shimmy shake has been playing off for her. On the other end, CJ Nafuente single-handedly putting on her Greg Jennings jersey and saying, I'm going to put the team on my back, completely taking over the offense as Humber's offense has been struggling.
Consistency, consistency, consistency. That's how you spell No Fuente.
She's not Na Fuente, she's on Fuente, so as we would like to say up here in the booth. Second quarter starting up here soon. Second quarter action coming here for the Hawks and the St. Clair Saints. It's been a good matchup so far. Score is 20-12. Oh, just like that old school Rush album. Definitely looking for the Hawks to turn it around after the sloppy play in the first. Saints with the possession as Martin inbounds.
And No Fuente cannot do it all herself. She's already got 2/3 of the Hawks' points. That is not a trend you can rely on to win games.
Absolutely not as Beeler brings the ball up the court. Bayshard playing tough defense against Beeler. Swing to Kennedy. Kennedy to the inside for Hansor. But the fumble there by the Saints leads to the possession for the Hawks. And Nafuente bringing the ball up the court, but it's a kick ball off the legs of the Saints. Interior possession coming up for the Humber Hawks. Inbounds have been the key there for Humber, and they have not been able to capitalize, unfortunately. Maybe trying their best here to turn it around. Inbound to Oriwa. Swings it back to Nafuente, who slips a little bit, pulls up. No good as Martin with the rebound. Martin swings to Beeler, but unfortunately fumbles it between her hands, kind of like Des Bryant yesterday, and leads to the Humber possession.
The Hawks need to take advantage of this. Another careless turnover by the Saints. You have to convert that into points.
Lopez with the swing to Domingo. Domingo to Bayshard. Bayshard back to Lopez. Handling it is Lopez. Into Oriwa. Careful there. Could have committed a travel. Swings it back out to Bayshard. Over to Lopez. Calling for the screen is Lopez as Domingo sets it on the right. Runner there by Lopez, but no good off the back, and Oriwa fumbles the rebound, which leads to the St. Clair possession.
Lopez sent the Saints to the wrong side of the floor there by ignoring the screen and going to the other side of the basket. Great play. Heads up.
Inbound there to Beeler. Beeler handling the ball up the court. Little fumble here there. Could have been a double dribble. Was not. Keeping going up is Hansor. Swings it back to Martin. Martin up for the layup, and that's the bucket there for the Saints. 12-22 is the score. The Saints are up 10 right now, and the number one Hawks seem frazzled. Oriwa fumbles it, which leads to the jump ball.
The Hawks cannot let being behind early change their approach to this game. They need to go back to doing what they've done to be the number one seed if they want to be back in this before the end of the half.
Hawks gain possession on the jump ball. The interior pass over to Domingo, who floats it up and in for the bucket. 14-22 is the score as Riggins brings the ball up the court. Riggin handling it. Lopez playing tight D. Riggins swings it to Beeler. Beeler with the screen for Kennedy, screens for Beeler, swings it back out to Kennedy. Kennedy up with the layup, no good. Oh, but the missed fumble there by the Hawks leads to the Saints regaining possession. Riggin handling it at the top as she swings over to Hansor. Hansor back to Riggin. Into Kennedy. Watch that J. Off the back rim, but Hansor with the rebound. Good hustle. But the Hawks gain the possession as Domingo turns on the Jets. Swings it to Bayshard. Bayshard gets the foul. And the Hawks are doing really well in the fast break, just not being able to capitalize on their points.
And the Saints are forcing them to go to the line. This is the second time Bayshard's been shooting free throws. And she's going to have to execute. They're making them earn it. So get to the line and make your shots. That's why you spend all those extra hours in the gym.
Bayshard the extra hours are important. Bayshard at the line. Riggin subbed out for Caldarelli. And Bayshard hits the first. And she hits two. 2 of 2. The Hawks are now 1 for 6. 3 for 6 at the free throw line. As Beeler handles the ball up the court. Beeler with the swing over to Hansor. Hansor takes it up with the big hit, but no call, and Bayshard was unhappy with that as Domingo brings the ball up the court single-handedly and lays it up and in, showing off her play that got her promoted to the starting position.
They are letting these girls play out there. No call on the hard contact at one end of the floor, and then the Hawks all the way back down. May have been a little contact on Domingo when she was going to the basket. No whistle.
J by Campanelli. Caldarelli, and she bangs it in for a point. That's 24-18 is the score. Saints are still up as Lopez brings the ball up the court. Lopez moving around the Domingo screen, trying to get some offense going here for the Hawks, who have not been able to get into their sets. Swing out to Bayshard for 3, and up and in is Amber Bayshard drilling the tray.
And just like that, the Hawks are within 3. You blink your eyes and this game changes.
Absolutely. Kennedy handles the ball up the court for the Saints. Swings it out to Martin with the J, who bangs another shot. Martin has definitely been a threat to them offensively, and 21-26 is the score.
Great time to take a timeout, slow things down. There's been some breakdowns, but it looks like it's just a substitution. They're going to keep things moving here.
Saints and Hawks both making substitutions as the inbound to Lopez. And Lopez handles the ball up the court. Boyington making her first appearance today, swinging it back to Lopez. Over to Fuente, who's open for 3. He's going to pull up, take it, and make it. That's classic CJ as she bangs in the 3. 24-26, the Hawks are only down 2 as Kennedy handles the ball up court.
A hand in Fuente's face, and she says, get that garbage out of here. I'm taking this shot.
You know, they only take out the trash on Tuesdays, and it is Sunday, so the postman isn't delivering today. As the Saints go up for the shot, and that's Nicole Tam with the harm and a little bit of a limp coming out of that shot.
If you're going to drive that hard to the basket, you have to expect that there's going to be some contact. That's why you go to those dirty areas.
Absolutely, and basketball is a contact sport. 6:15 left in the second. 24-26 is the score with Tam at the free throw line for 2. And Tam nails the first one. Tam, 6-footer from Windsor, Ontario in her 3rd year. The forward. And she hits the second. St. Clair has been wonderful at the free throw line thus far. Inbound to Lopez. Boyington calling for the ball. Gets it, but hesitates. Into Domingo. And that's going to be a shove there by the Saints, and that's going to be on Tam, unfortunately, leading. So the inbounds possession again for Humber.
Tam just a little bit too aggressive there on defense. No point in giving away that foul this early. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to sit on the bench.
Saints have 2 team fouls to the Hawks. 1 is the inbound. Nafuente out to Lopez. Lopez with the drive. Good crossover. Swings it out to Oriwa. Oriwa trying her best, but fumbles it a little bit. Over to Lopez, who pulls up for the J. Short is the J as Martin handles the ball after the rebound. Tam to Caldarelli. Caldarelli. Kennedy. Martin calling for it in the interior. Fumbles the pass. Swings it over to Tam, but Tam fumbles it, and Boyington got to keep that fast break alive for Lopez. Nice little Euro step move. Gets the block on Caldarelli, and that was a great move there by Lopez.
A little outside-in move, gets to the basket, draws the foul. Excellent play by Lopez. That was sneaky.
Letitia Lopez has been playing wonderful so far today. 5'3", standing 5'3" in her 3rd year, and a timeout is called by the Saints. 5:40 left in the first half. 24-28 is the score. And Steven, we've got a wonderful game going on here.
Well, they call her Little Lopez, but it's not how big you are, it's how big you play. And right now, she might as well be 10 feet tall because she has been all over the court, driving hard to the basket, picking up steals on the defensive side. She's a monster.
Absolutely. She's been picking up for the slack offensively when Fuente checks out. As Semple has been struggling today, there's been a lot of short rim shots by the Hawks, not hitting a rim. But we can't also discredit Amber Bayshard with a couple of big trays and a big contribution from that starting lineup.
She has been absolutely unbelievable all weekend long. She's got herself to the line twice already. She hasn't had the shots fall the way she'd like. The Hawks are only shooting 50% from the free throw line right now, but that is something we should expect to change.
Absolutely. And on the other end for the Saints, Kennedy's been playing well.
Kennedy has been unbelievable. Maybe she should change her last name to Oswald because she has been totally unholy on this offensive side. Just taking the ball to the rack, turning around, making those Dirk Nowitzki-esque shots. You know, he won a championship against Miami that year.
I do remember that
exact shot.
You know, Tyler the Creator once made a great line about that championship series, saying, "Fall back like LeBron's hairline against the Mavericks." He lost. As Lopez returns to the free throw line. 2 shots here for Lopez. Don't forget to keep in mind at 3 p.m. we have the men's Hawks taking on the St. Clair Saints. As Lopez short arms the first free throw. Hits the second, and that's what counts. 26-28 is the score. Substitution is called as Bayshard subs in for Lopez. Inbound by the Saints. Bringing it up is Riggin. Fuente playing Riggin close. Swing over to Caldarelli. Tam wants it, doesn't get it. Swing to Martin. And a travel is going to be called by the Saints. Luck there on the Hawks side as they gain possession. 25-28 is the score.
And again, a careless turnover when you're on the offensive side. You can't just give the ball to the Hawks like that. You just watched a 10-point lead evaporate, and you continue to make the same mistakes. They got to fix that up.
Boyington to Nefuente. Nefuente with the hit. No good, but almost gets the three-point play, which seems to be a trend. CJ's had a couple of near three-point plays here.
She continues to force the Saints to take fouls, She's looked excellent today. She's all over the court. She's finding her teammates. She's been the same CJ we've come to know all year.
Absolutely. Maybe trying to repeat her title as OCAA Women's Player of the Year. And same with AJ Sharma as Nefuente hits the first free throw. AJ Sharma last year was Coach of the Year for the OCAA, coaching the Hawks to an 18-0 season, OCAA championship, and a national championship as well.
Not to take away any credit, but it's easy to look great when you have players like the Hawks do.
Absolutely. Fumble there by the Saints leads to Boyington with the steal, and Nefuente turning the Jets on. Swinging it out to Bayshard, back to Boyington, who hesitates the shot and drives. Swinging it over to Entree. Entree hesitates, swings it back to Bayshard, who bangs in her second three of this quarter, of the second three of the game, first of this half.
She already has 10 points today. She's looking awesome out there, very comfortable, shooting with confidence. Hopefully she can keep that up. The Hawks just took their first lead.
Absolutely. Kennedy brings the shot up, and now is actually Bayshard's second three, Entree dribbles the ball up casually, swings it over to Nefuente. Entree was just able to bring that one up as fast as she wanted to. As a screen coming from Entree on the left. Swing to Entree on the inside. Hesitation there. Fumble. And Riggins handles it for the Saints. Bringing it up is Riggin, who drives all the way to the interior. Little too strong, but it's going to be out of bounds for the Hawks.
A total defensive lapse there by the Hawks. The lane was left wide open. Riggins saw it and drove right to the basket. It's too bad she wasn't able to execute. That was a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Riley Welsh as well as Leah Beeler nailed it. Substitutes in. Inbound there for the Hawks. Nefuente handling it. Domingo screen on the right-hand side. Nefuente's going to take it up herself. Fumbles it. May have been blocked as Kennedy handles it for the Saints.
Just Saints hands everywhere there. Nofuente has to find a way to get her teammates involved when they collapse on her like that.
Swing into the interior for Welsh as she goes up and gets the call. 3:48 left in the second, and in the first half, 29-28, Humber has a 1-point lead for the first time in the game. It was Riley Welsh, the second year from LaSalle, Ontario, goes to the free throw line. Short arms the first one. Looks like Oriwa is about to check in as well.
Another player that had a great day yesterday. She was everywhere, a defensive specialist. She looked awesome against the Lions. Let's hope she can bring it again today against the Saints.
And Oriwa subs in, taking out Entree. Inbound here for the Hawks as Nofuente handles it. Nofuente has been going to town against these Saints, cutting into the interior and making it to the free throw line more than a handful of times. Miscommunication there by the Hawks, but they recover it after the quick scramble as Domingo hits the deck hard. Boyington got a little too excited on the first handle and ends up traveling. Unfortunate.
She took a walk on that one. Again, it's another careless turnover. You can't do that. This game doesn't need to be as close as it is. If they can make their baskets from here on out, they should have this win.
Absolutely, as Beeler handles the ball up court. Gets a little spin move, swinging it over to Martin, who airballs a shot, and CJ goes up for the rebound and falls down hard, which he's good.
Looked like an over-the-back foul on Saints. That's a dangerous play. People can get hurt on that one. You got to be careful out there.
That's how Jose Garbajosa broke his neck, I believe, against the Celtics years ago.
Was it Garbajosa or Garbage Hosa?
Well, I'm not a Raptors fan, so I can idle talk.
He's not a basketball player.
Oh, he's not anymore. He's retired. And it looks like there was a foul being called and over the back, and the Saints are in the Hawks are in the bonus as the Saints have 5 team fouls. As CJ unable to capitalize on the first free throw.
Showing a little emotion there. She can't let this get to her. People miss free throws, even people as inhuman as CJ Nofuente.
Nofuente, inhuman enough, actually hits her second free throw, and Semple subbed in a little bit earlier as the Saints take possession. And Martin with a nice crossover swings it to Kennedy. Looking for the screen is Kennedy, but she's going to take it herself up against Oriwa. Nice little scoop layup, but no good as Oriwa grabs the rebound, and CJ Nofuente taking it up the right-hand side of the court. And she's going to take it all the way. Little scoop up, and it rolls in the Derrick Rose-esque flush for CJ Nofuente, and the three-point play coming for the Hawks as the score is 32-29, and the Hawks are using the high-powered offense of CJ Nofuente and the combination of Bayshard's three-pointers to bolster their offense.
She put a little English on that one, didn't she?
Absolutely. Maybe even a little bit of Grey Poupon.
The Grey Poupon, of course. How could I forget?
Absolutely. As the Saints call timeout, they are out of timeouts for the half. And really, this has been a showing for CJ Nofuente and as well for Amber Bayshard drilling tray after tray after tray.
A combined 24 of the 32 Hawks points. They have been absolutely reliable on the offensive side. And Nofuente has been finding ways to get people involved. She looks fantastic out there. Bayshard's hitting those threes in the pocket and at the elbow. She's a threat from anywhere.
Absolutely, and as the once great Drake said, they are in control of this game as the Saints are struggling. Kennedy hasn't been able to finish. Reagan hasn't been able to get to the basket. What do the Saints have to do differently to capitalize on the offensive end?
I think they can keep going to Kennedy. It looks like she is going to be their key to success today. She drives hard to the basket. She's made those turnarounds that we talked about earlier. I mean, I know she's a Saint, but she looks totally unholy out there.
And the fun game today is strong between the two of us as the timeout is ending here for both teams. AJ Sharma must be happy with the turnaround play of his players, and on the other end, Andy Kiss must be struggling.
It's good not to get discouraged early, which they could have done. Weaker teams fold up when they're down by 10 points.
Absolutely.
The Hawks didn't let it happen here today in the nest. Now they're in control.
And the greats do not fall easily or quickly as Nofuente is back at the free throw line. And the crowd in here is electric as Nofuente hits the second free throw.
A perfect shooting stroke. It was fine, like a ticket on a dash.
It was. Riley Welsh inbounds to Martin. Martin to the swing, back to Welsh. Interior shot by the Saints, no good, but they grab their own board, And the scuffle between Semple and Welsh leads to the jump ball and the Saints gaining possession. And that was a missed J there by Leah Beeler. Definitely not happy with that shot.
You need to knock those down. You're wide open, nobody in your face. You take that shot, you hit it.
33-29 is the score with 2:23 left in the half as Kennedy handles it. Screen there by Hanzor, who takes the hit. And it's going to be a foul on the Hawks there.
Kennedy driving to the lane, again using her size. She knows that that's her advantage and keeps going to it here this afternoon. She's looked awesome.
Martin on the inbound, and Kennedy has been handling the offensive load as well as handling the ball a lot. Interesting to see out of this larger player with good handling fundamentals. Screen there by Hanzor. Kennedy stops, passes it to Martin. The interior is stopped. Back to Kennedy. Screen by Walsh. Oh, but a good defensive play there by CJ Nafuente, taking the hit there from Kennedy.
That must be absolutely terrifying to see a person that much bigger than you coming, charging through the lane, and just standing there and take it. That's Kyle Lowry-esque.
It is. Back in the day when Kyle Lowry wasn't so round. And the inbound to Lopez.
It's those 3 o'clock in the morning McDonald's trips, from what I understand.
It is. Oh, he stopped going. He's put it out of his diet.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That one's for Paul Cross.
That it is. Oriwa swings to Nafuente. To Lopez, who's been playing well. Bayshard in the corner. She's being left open, but they choose not to go for it as Nafuente takes it to the bucket. To Semple, who leans in for the J. Not good off the back rim as Martin brings the ball up the court for the Saints. Watch out there for Welsh. Swing back to Martin. Into the lane for Kennedy. Double team there by the Hawks, but the swing back to Martin by Kennedy is unsuccessful in the layup as Semple fumbles the rebound. And there's going to be an elbow call there. And it looks like that's going to be on the Hawks. That's their third team foul. Good heads-up play by Tori Hanzor to stop that possession before it even started for the Hawks.
It looks like all of this harassment is actually starting to get to Jill Semple. She missed those 2 shots earlier. They pulled her out of the game, tried to give her a chance to refocus. Now, problems on the defensive side. She's throwing elbows. She cannot let emotion get the best of her.
And she's throwing bows, and the Hawks are unhappy with that. Caldarelli subs in for Welsh. And on the inbound is Martin. Swing to Martin, excuse me. That was Beeler on the inbound. Martin to the interior of Kennedy. And a call here on the ground. Oriwa unhappy with the call, leaves her hands up, and the Hawks are frustrated. You can see the frustration of Kingsley assistant coach Kingsley Hudson and the combination of AJ Sharma.
You got to keep your emotions in check. You can't let it take over. You lose focus. You start taking dumb fouls. You give the other team an opportunity to close out your 4-point lead. You worked hard for that lead.
Absolutely. As Kennedy returns back to the line, she's been doing pretty well today at the free throw line, nailing most of her shots.
She's an absolute boss. This might as well be the 64 election.
My goodness. As Kennedy nails the first one, scores 33-30 with 1:40 left in the first half. And she nails the second, so 33-31, putting the lead of the Hawks down to just 2 points. As Nafuente handles the ball, played tightly there by Beeler. Swing to Oriwa. Over to Bayshard. Bayshard thought about the interior pass, but swings it over to CJ for Trey. No good, but the rebound there by Bayshard and swings it back to Nafuente. Nafuente handling, calling for the screen from Domingo. Swings it back to Domingo after the screen. Over to Lopez. Leticia Lopez for Trey. No good as well. As the board there by Kennedy, using her size to box out Oriwa as she handles it up the court. Swing to the interior, and that's a fumble there by Beeler, leading to the Hawks' possession. Good pass by Kennedy. Bad handling by Beeler.
It's too hot to handle. A little too much mustard on that hot dog.
Exactly. Someone say it was too hot in the kitchen. Needed her to get out of there. As the inbound for the Hawks. Andy Kiss voicing his frustrations with the officials. Nafuente handling it. Played closely by Beeler. Screen by Domingo on the left. Well, that's going to be an offensive foul. A moving screen by Domingo. That's a mistake and a miscommunication. That seems to be the issue between both Domingo and Nafuente.
And the Saints bench is loving it. I don't know if you can hear at home, but the crowd has gone absolutely silent with the Hawks turning the ball over as they have in the last few minutes.
54.2 seconds left on the clock. St. Clair is only down 2, maybe trying to tie it up before the half with the last possession. It's the inbound here from Beeler to Caldarelli. Tight defense being played here by the Hawks. Barely gets it over as Caldarelli, who swings it to Martin. Martin driving, wants to pull up, chooses not to, swings it to the interior for Hansor, who fumbles it, and that leads to the Hawks' possession. Kind of looked like a little bit of a flop there trying to get the call by Hansor.
And the Oscar goes to.
Not Daniel Day-Lewis. Not Daniel Day-Lewis. As Lopez handles the ball up the court, 35.4, 33 seconds left in the half. Oriwa handling it to Bayshard. She's nailed a couple of trays. She's pretty open there, but passes it over to Nafuente. Over to Tisha Lopez, who drives, but to no avail. Fumble, a little bit of a scramble occurring here. Oriwa gains control and takes it up, but no good as Kennedy grabs the board and brings the ball up with 13 seconds left in the half. Drive here by Martin, the good layup, chucks it up, but no good. But Hansor cashes in and ties the game up for the Saints. As Nafuente throws it up to Bayshard, who gets really hip-checked and succeeds in getting the call with 1.4 seconds left on the clock, and that's a good hustle play there by Amber Bayshard to get all the way up court and hustle for that.
Full marks, though, for Hansor of the Saints, getting all the way back after scoring at the other end. That was unbelievable defense.
Absolutely. The Saints tied it up with Bayshard at the line, trying to extend their lead. And she's got ice water in her veins as she hits the first. Nailing both the after practice paid off. And the score is 35-33 with 1 second left in the half. And that's going to end the first half of this tightly contested Hawks basketball game. Hawks lead by 2, but the Saints aren't far behind with the play of Shannon Kennedy really helping to propel the two forward.
The Hawks were able to eke out a lead, which was a bit of a surprise, but they found a way to close that gap with a few minutes left. They should have a great opportunity to move towards that win in the second half.
The number 1 Hawks trying to extend their wonderful record behind against these number 14 overall St. Clair Saints. More coming up. And second half of Hawks basketball coming up here. The number 1 Humber Hawks taking on the 14th overall St. Clair Saints. A tightly contested first half as the inbound to Lopez. But a fumble there by Domingo. But Bayshard grabs it. Swing back to Lopez. Stephen, we've been having a highly contested game between these two. What does Humber need to do going forward to keep their momentum going?
More than anything, I think Humber just needs to calm down a little bit and play their own game. We saw a little bit of emotion out of Jill Semple. I don't think she's liking this matchup with Kennedy very much. It's been tough for her down low. And as long as they can go back to their bread and butter, they should be fine.
Martin to Beeler. Back to Kennedy. Kennedy posting up. Bayshard. Double coming. Kennedy goes for it anyways. Didn't call bank, and it's not good. Well, the hustle there by the Saints off the tip by the Hawks. And that's a fresh 24. 10 seconds left in the clock, excuse me. Swing there to Martin. 5 seconds left on the clock. Not keeping ahead on the shot clock. Pulling up as the Saints and just hitting rim, but that's a shot clock violation. Did not get it off in time. And that's Cheyenne Riggin. Unsuccessful to get that off in time. 35-33 is the score. 9:05 left in the third quarter as we're just getting started here.
Cheyenne Riggin, I looked into it at the half. No relation to Tim Riggins, the fictional character from Friday Night Lights.
Just checking. You had to make sure. Always want to make sure. Domingo swings to Bayshard. Out to Lopez, who handles the ball at the top of the key. Swing to Nafuente. In to Domingo. Back to Nafuente, who pulls up, and that's going to be a block on the Saints. No good, and then Nafuente is going to inbound the ball.
No Fuente has looked more like no franchise out here. She is giving and going, shaking and baking, driving to the rim. It's her world. We just live in it.
Exactly. As speaking of Nafuente, she inbounds it to Lopez, who bangs the tray. 38-33 is the score. Driving is Beeler. Swinging it out to Hansor. Back to Kennedy. Looking for that interior cut, but she's going to take it up herself. Pulls up. No good off the back rim as Domingo grabs the board. Into Lopez, into the drive. Hesitates and pulls up for the shot. That's 40-33 for the Hawks.
Lopez able to shake off 2 defenders there with a nice head fake. She looked excellent on that offensive play.
And a fumble there by the Saints leading to Domingo grabbing the steal. And the swing, oh, I thought she was going to swing it out, but took it up herself and says, I got this.
A little 360 a la DeMar DeRozan heading to the basket there.
Or maybe even Zach LaVine from the free throw line as the Saints call timeout. Andy Kiss is not happy with his team and the play that's going on. Seems like the mannequin challenge is occurring on the end of the Saints as their defense has been so stiff and unable to stop the high-powered Hawks offense.
They really have been caught standing still. The Hawks said, get your hands off my egg. I'm taking this rock to the basket.
And you know, speaking of real crowd pleasers, CJ Nafuente has been coming out, and she has been in fuego for this entire game.
I feel like the only name I think about anytime I'm watching this game is No Fuente. She's a difference maker.
And you can't also forget about Bayshard drilling a couple of trays in the first half as well, playing a key role.
Lopez
nailing a couple as well.
It's this team is a high-powered offense, a well-oiled machine.
Machine or a machine, who knows? There is a rage in there, and it is boiling inside for these Hawks as they want to pull forward and continue their quality record. The timeout ends for both teams. Saints trying to turn it around, 42-33 with 7:52 left in the third quarter. Kennedy has been struggling offensively, getting the back rim on the last couple of shots.
The Hawks have shut down those careless turnovers we saw in the first half that were really killing them with the Saints. It's like they put on their best Rob Ford impression. They stopped the gravy train.
They did stop the gravy train, but they weren't like DMX. They hit the Pookie, but did not go platinum. As Riggin brings the ball up the court. Swing there to Kennedy. Falling down is Bayshard, and Kennedy takes it up herself, but again, hitting back rim. Too strong. Not calling bank as Domingo charges the ball up the court. Fumbles it. Swings it to Lopez, who's going to pull up again for Trey. Unsuccessful, but Semple hustling for that board. But Kennedy grabs it as Riggin brings the ball up the court.
Kennedy says right there, I saved 108 lives on the PT 109. What have you done lately?
Oh, my goodness. As the Saints go up for a call, a point, and get the call, Nicole Tam with the shot. leading to the foul. Tam leading to the free throw, heading to the free throw line for 2.
They call her NBA Jam Tam, and she's heating up.
She's not on fire yet, so not boom shakalaka indeed. As Ariwa looking to sub in. Tam hits both of them. And that's going to be 35-42 for the Hawks.
And the Hawks have come out strong here in this second half. I haven't seen a team come out this strong since Michael Jordan and the Toon Squad beat the Monstars in the biographical film Space Jam.
And speaking of Monstars and Monstar in general, Amber Bayshard drilling another tray. That's her third of the game. As the Saints bring the ball up the court, Bayshard fell over. Oh, but Martin is denied by Domingo, who brings the ball up court. She's got Bayshard with her. They've got numbers, and the foul. Bayshard hitting the deck hard and getting up. Recently, she just shed the mask off of her face, worried about that nose injury that happened a couple of weeks ago.
You can't play with fear. You can't let injuries of the past decide your future. Really good to see that she has not lost any of her aggressive touch, going to the basket hard.
Caldarelli subs in for Riggins as Bayshard hits the line for 2. A little too strong on the first one. That's 0 for 1 at the free throw line for Bayshard. Second one rolls in, and that's going to be 46-35 for the Hawks as Martin handles the ball up the court. Driving, trying to make some offense occur for these St. Clair Saints. Beeler mishandles it, swings it to Caldarelli, excuse me. Swing interior for Martin. Good fight on the interior. Falling over is Martin, and Domingo grabs that board. But it's going to be Saints possession.
Domingo looked her in the eye and she said, "That's my purse. I don't know you."
Saints with the possession. Bringing the ball inbounds. Swing to Tam. Into Kennedy. Kennedy with the pull-up J. No good. She has been off-key the entire time. If this was pitch perfect, she would not be.
No, they have not looked like they did in the first half. They need to regroup here before things get out of hand. Time is always of the essence in the second half, and with an 11-point lead now, things could be overextended against the Saints.
Oriwa inbounds the ball after the Saints fumble, leading to the turnover. Lopez bringing the ball up the court. Lopez has had a good game of herself, hoping to contribute a little bit more. But speaking of contributing, CJ Nafuente with the handle. Back to Lopez.
Lopez and Nafuente are the dynamic duo that this team relies on, and we see it again today. It's just as frequent as the sun coming up in the morning. You know that these two are going to come here and ball.
And just before the shot clock expires, Domingo banks the bucket in. Good shot there as the Saints bring the ball up the court. Swing to Tam. Tam posting up on the smaller Bayshard. And that's Caldarelli with the J. The lefty shot, and it's good. 37-48's the score with 6:09 left in the third quarter as Lopez brings the ball up the court. Swing to Oriwa. Nafuente into Bayshard. She's been playing good, but she gets sent back by Tam, and the little shove after the block. Oh, but the fumble there by the Saints leads to Domingo with the nice scoop layup. Too much mustard as DJ Esco and Uzi Vert, as well as Future said, too much sauce. Oh, and the scramble leading to a foul for the Hawks.
And both teams, they're getting a little away from their game plans, and you could see that when Nafuente and Domingo fighting for the ball down low were unable to finish, and then the kick out to Nafuente, who went hard off the back iron. They just need to calm things down, wait for a little bit more support, and go for the easier, higher percentage shots.
Absolutely, and they may need to get more set in their rotations as Nafuente inbounds the ball to Bayshard. Back to Nafuente. Nafuente's going to pull up for Trey. The Rainbow J, no good as the shot clock expires, but they're still good because it hit the rim. Caldarelli up to Kennedy. Kennedy's going to take it up herself as she's been doing all game, but no, she swings it back to Caldarelli. Over to Beeler, but it's stolen by CJ Nafuente, and she goes up for the easy scoop layup and gets the point. That's 50-37 for the Hawks.
Excellent anticipation there by Nafuente. If she can continue to do that, she can continue to find those easy baskets all afternoon.
Kennedy for Trey, pulls up and bangs it. That's 40 for the Saints, 50 for the Hawks. It's a 10-point lead, but Lopez brings it coast to coast, and she gets the points the most. 52-40 for the Hawks.
That three by Kennedy was deep. She nailed that one from the grassy knoll.
Absolutely. Coming from the far beyond, some would say. Tam swings it into Kennedy with a nice turnaround, Jay, and she's starting to heat up. One more bucket, and she's on fire. Boom, shakalaka. Lopez handling the ball up the court.
A little bit of jaw in there, too. Emotion is starting to come out here. Things are getting chippy down there.
Bayshard into Nafuente. Nafuente with the pull-up, Jay. Gets the roll, and it's in. 54-42 is the score. Kennedy inbounds to Beeler. Back to Kennedy. They're just giving Kennedy the ball because she's hot right now.
She is the president of this offense.
Kennedy to Caldarelli. Caldarelli with the drive and the nice scoop layup. Up and in for the Saints. 44-54 is the score, but Lopez. Jukes Martin is going to take it to the rack. No. Swings it out to Domingo. Over to Nafuente. Thought about pulling it, but didn't. Swings it to Lopez, who has the easy beat and rolls out as her shot.
An excellent fake there by Lopez. Even though she didn't get the basket, she brought the defender over and then drove hard to the lane once she brought her in on the shot. Great play.
Beeler swings to Martin. The underhand scoop layup, and that's up and in. These Saints are not going down easy as the Hawks continue with their possession. Nafuente calling some plays, trying to set up something a little bit fancy. Looking like an ISO play. She drives straight to the bucket for the harm. No point, but good drive there by CJ Nafuente, showing off why she won OCAA Women's Player of the Year as two Humber subs come in. That would be Untry and Boyington. And for the Saints, subbing in is Riley Welsh.
That was an unbelievable play by Nafuente just to get a shot against the rim. She was under there and tight to the baseline and still found a way to put it up. There's nothing these Saints can do.
And there was a definite Dr. Julius Irving impression there by CJ Nafuente as she hits the first bucket, trying to get that up and underneath the basket.
Dr. J or Dr. CJ?
Absolutely. As Nafuente nails the first one, 55-46 with 3:10 left in the third quarter, and 56-46, extending their lead to 10 is CJ Nafuente, who's been playing hot all day. Martins with the handle, but good tight defense by the Hawks. Welsh. To Caldarelli. Caldarelli drives. Nothing there. Out to Tam with the J. No good on the shot as Oriwa handles it.
And they are just everywhere, swarming the Saints. They're like locusts on defense.
Boyington swings it to Untry, but no good. Swings it out to Lopez, who fumbles the pass. Back to Boyington. Looking like it's going to Oriwa, but she fumbles the pass, and it goes back to the Saints, and Kennedy handles the ball up court. These Saints are not going down easy, only down 10, but their offense has got hot in the last quarter.
Kennedy needs to find a way to get more people involved. They're starting to catch on to her tendency to drive to the middle, and they're throwing double teams her way.
And Welsh with the J, no good. Over to Nafuente after the Oriwa rebound. Nafuente trying to call something. Thinks she's calling for it. She wants it. And she drives, gets a little check there by Welsh. Welsh not happy with the call, but CJ ducked down and got it with 2:11 in the third quarter. 56-46 is the score as Nafuente maybe heading to the free throw line, and yes, she is.
Hard to see what Welsh could be arguing there. It looked like her hands were high, almost into CJ Nafuente's face. I don't know exactly where she sees anything different from the foul, but obviously she didn't like the call.
And that's the 15th foul there for the Saints, so the Hawks are in the bonus. As CJ hits the first, but fumbles the second, but the hustle of Oriwa to grab the rebound, swings it out to Nafuente, who thought about pulling it but didn't. But she is. And it's a little short, an air ball there. Entree hustling for it. And that looks like it's going to be a foul on the Saints.
And
unsure.
She was just teched up for arguing that call. Entree is not being given any leniency on that. You cannot take those technical fouls. That's possession and a foul.
Stephanie Entree is definitely not happy with that call. Getting it looks like the refs are going to be having a quick little consortium meeting to figure out what's going on as the Saints are going to be making a substitution. As Hanzor subs in, and it looks like indeed there may be a technical foul awarded to the Hawks, to the St. Clair Saints, and the Hawks get the technical free throw as Entree is at the free throw line. And she misses the technical free throw, only 1 out of 2. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. 57-46 is the score. Hawks have been playing well, but Saints are not falling behind anytime soon. Entree hits the second one, and that's what counts. And it looks like Nafuente is also going to the line. Looks like there's going to be additional free throws due to the Saints being in the bonus.
The Saints are letting their emotions get the best of them, and they're making mistakes here that the Hawks are definitely taking advantage of. Again, you cannot let things get out of hand. There's only two minutes left here in the third, and it's already a 13-point lead, and things were a lot tighter in the first half. They have to go back to that.
59-46 is the score as Nafuente handles the ball. Trying to get some more offense out of these Hawks is Nafuente, who swings it into Domingo, who's been playing well this game, providing that extra hustle she always does. Off the rim before the shot clock can expire. Oh, and a good hustle by CJ. Cuts off the Saints pass. Looked like she wanted to pull up, but chooses not to. CJ showing her dominance on the defensive end as she handles the ball.
She read that one like a book of rhymes.
And the J there from Domingo. Nothing but net as it goes in. 61-46 is the score with 1:22 left in the third quarter. And Kennedy handles the ball. She's going to drive for it, but no. Swings it back to Caldarelli. Caldarelli driving, pulling up with the J, the lefty, no good. Boyington hustles for the rebound, fumbles with it a little bit around all over the place. Swings it to Domingo and gets the Humber ball back in control. Over to Nafuente on the left side of the court. Nafuente really wants to capitalize here. She keeps going with the ball up, over, and in, and that's 63-46 with 47 seconds left in the third quarter.
Looked like a little miscommunication by the Saints there on defense. They collapsed off the ball, and CJ had the easy basket. You cannot leave her unoccupied.
And the bad pass there by the Saints, leading by the fast break by Entree, who puts it up at a little bit too much mustard. But Bayshard's there to clean it up for them. 65-46 is the score with 27 seconds left. This could be the final possession of the quarter as Kennedy handles the ball for the Saints. Into Martins, and there's going to be a foul called there. It's going to be put on the inbounds. That's going to be a foul called there on Boyington. Tristan Boyington with the foul. The first year out of Caledon, Ontario, making a rookie mistake there.
Born and raised in Caledon myself. I don't know Boyington. I don't know anything about Boyington, but I'm quite certain she's good people. That area, unbelievable. It's definitely no Windsor.
Definitely for sure, and I went to high school in Caledon, so it works out perfectly. Inbounds here for the Saints. Swings to Kennedy with a nice fader J, no good. Falling over is a Saints player as the Hawks take the ball up the court. Entree handling it. 10 seconds left in the half as Domingo drives. Pulls up with the turnaround J. Bounce, and it's in. Bubblegum in a dish. She wished for a shot, and it went in. Oh, and the Saints chuck it up before the buzzer expires, and it's no good. 67-46 is the score after the end of the third quarter. A dominating quarter by the Hawks, and on the other end for the Saints, one to forget. Steven, is there anything that they should be doing, the Saints need to change so they can, get back into this game?
I think that the Saints showed that they were a little stubborn there. They were unwilling to adjust when the Hawks did. Sarah Kennedy continues to force the issue in the lane, and it's just not working right now. She needs to get her teammates involved so that they can close this gap a little bit. I don't know that with 1 quarter left, they have enough time to come up with 23 points.
Reggie Miller did score 6 points in 4 seconds, so anything is possible for these Saints to be able to turn it around.
Are you saying it could be Miller time in here?
It could be Miller time, or it could even be Tracy McGrady time, where he scored 10 points in, I believe it was 24 seconds.
I was looking into the players' eyes, those of the Saints earlier, and unfortunately they don't have that advantage that T-Mac did have, where his eyes looked in different directions and he could see more of the floor at the same time.
Absolutely, and we've been seeing great play from both CJ Nafuente as well as Amber Bayshard. The combination of the two, as well as Lopez and Domingo, have been rounding out the Hawks' offense and defense excellently well, and you can't forget about CJ Nafuente showing us why she won OCAA Women's Player of the Year. Strong performance.
She's been absolutely unstoppable out there. You're totally right. I don't really think that there's anything anybody out here can do. CJ Nafuente continues to force her agenda on them defensively and offensively. She's picking off passes. She's driving to the lane. She's shooting from the outside. What can you possibly do about something like that?
Some would say she's forcing the agenda, but she's on her marks. And on the other end, Kennedy has been playing well, 16 points. Maybe be able to turn it around. Are the Saints. And it looks like they're having a little bit more of a conversation, but looking at some highlights here. Bayshard has been drilling those trays every day, all day. So going forward, should the Saints be cautious around the three-point line because the Hawks have made more than a few.
I think that they do have to start playing man-to-man defense. They've been going with more of a zone so far, and it's not working. If you go man-to-man, they'll have an opportunity to get some hands and some faces on those three-point shots, just like you said.
And Humber starts the fourth quarter off with possession. Bayshard tries to throw it into the interior, and it gets kicked by a Saints player. That's going to be Humber ball in the inbounds.
The Saints here could find themselves in a position where for the rest of the game they're going to have to take those lower percentage outside shots with this 21-point lead that they're down. They got to live and die by the three now. They need to be Chef Curry with the pot.
With the pot especially, and we should be careful. If they are down 21, they should hold up. As Nafuente pulls up for Trey and drills it. 70-46 is the score. What a shot there from CJ Nafuente.
Absolutely beautiful. Splishity splash on the offensive side.
She's not taking a bath, but she's banging threes all day, every day, as there's a foul there on the Hawks. And it's going to be inbounds for the Saints.
You got to love that, too. CJ Nafuente with a little bit of a stare down on the Saints there, saying, bring it. I'll teach you ladies how to play basketball.
Riggin with the inbounds. Swings it out to DeGear, making her first appearance today. And back to Riggins. No good. Nafuente with the baseball pass over to Domingo, over to Bayshard, and back to Domingo. The good back and forth play between Domingo and Bayshard led to the easy layup for the Hawks.
Absolutely beautiful ball movement again. They look fantastic right now. They're firing on all cylinders.
And Saints with the inside scoop, no good. Little bit of a hip check there by the Saints, and Stephanie Entree is going to get the call. Saints inbound. Sorry, the Hawks inbound. Domingo with the inbound. Playing up tight are the Saints playing a full court press. Oh, the fumble there by Latricia Lopez, and that is not good, leading to the Saints' possession. That's a sloppy mistake there.
Very uncharacteristic of Lopez, but in the words of Spider-Man, everybody gets one.
Everybody does get one indeed as the Saints take possession. Inbound here by DeGear. Swing to Riggin. Screen coming from Hanzor, but DeRiggin pulls up for the J herself. No good as Nafuente grabs the board and drives the full length of the court, swings it to Domingo, who short arms it just a little bit, but keeps up with her hustle and retains the possession for the Hawks. Swing to Amber Bayshard, who overextends on that one. A little bit too much mustard on that beat.
You know what? I think it's those extra hours spent doing those bi curls. I've seen her in the gym. She's a monster.
Absolutely. The J from the Saints, no good, but it was tipped off by Entree, so that's going to be Saints possession as Martin subs in. Cheyenne Riggin with the inbound for the Saints. Hanzor handling it, but fumbles it. And Bayshard with numbers goes up, no good. Oh, and just off of her hands as they could have got the rebound, but fumbled it. Bayshard with good hustle there, but unfortunately not capitalizing.
Hanzor just mishandling it on the offensive side for the Saints. More like Clubzor. You can't pick up a basketball with club hands.
And Caldarelli subbing in for Hanzor. Anthony Kiss was definitely not happy with that possession. Maybe sent her to the bench because of that. And Martin handling the ball for the Saints. Screen coming there for the Saints, but there seems to be no offense because the smothering defense of CJ Nafuente and the Hawks keeping up the tight pressure, looking like it's going to be a jump ball, but no, they're going to keep it going. And that's an over and back on the Saints, the smothering defense of the Humber Hawks, shutting down any offensive opportunity here for the St. Clair Saints.
Nafuente and Domingo, they're very wise not to put their hands on the ball and force that possession arrow. They waited for her to make the mistake, and she did. You know, when you put pressure on people, they make mistakes. Absolutely.
But pressure does make diamonds, and speaking of diamonds is CJ Nafuente, and she is shining bright like one as she bangs that J in. 74-46 is the score with 7:49 left in the fourth quarter. St. Clair is trying their best to mount a comeback as Kennedy drives into the lane with the scoop layup up and in. She did call bank on that time, and it rolled in. 48 for the Saints.
With a bank like that, is she a Kennedy or a Rothschild?
Something along the lines of that. She's got 18 for the game as Bayshard swings it to Lopez. Look out for Nafuente, but she's going to drop it into Oriwa. And Oriwa with the J, a little bit too much mustard on that beat, and that's no good as the Saints rebound. And Riggin driving up the court. Stopped by the Hawks as they swing to Kennedy. Kennedy with the deep swing to the other side for the Saints, driving. And it's up, but no good for Kayla DeGear.
This is exactly what the Saints should have been doing earlier. They're spreading the ball better now, and they are having better opportunities to drive into the lane. Like we just saw there, back to the stripe and getting those points. Where was this last quarter?
Seems like they're finally hitting their groove in the fourth quarter. As the timeout is called for the Saints, Andy Kiss is liking what they're doing but wants to improve it. On the other end, Humber is playing well. Bayshard, Domingo, and Nafuente have been the three-headed monster that has been holding down this Hawks offense.
Well, what can you do? They are the unholy triumvirate taking down these Saints. When they're firing, when they're passing the ball to each other and they're getting other people involved, we've seen some Anna Jacobs, some Antry. That's when this team is its most dangerous.
Absolutely. They would be splashing the holy water on the Saints with the wonderful Jays here and there. A lot of three-pointers being made here by the Hawks as it's been a tightly contested game. Hawks is leading 74-48. Up into the first half, it was tightly contested, and then the pull away here in the third quarter.
The Saints have looked a little out of sorts. They look better in this last quarter, and I don't really see the reason for this timeout. They were kind of just getting into their groove, but I guess Kiss saw something he didn't like, called his girls for a break, wants to reset and send them back out there with a few minutes left here in the fourth quarter.
And putting on your coach's clipboard, what would you do in this situation if you were a Kiss?
Right now, I think that in a 74-48 game with 7 minutes left, it might be a good time to get some people who normally don't see a lot of minutes more involved in the game. We've seen a lot of Kennedy. She's starting to lose her touch a little bit, and that could be a result of fatigue. I might, instead of shortening the bench, get more people out on the floor, get them some time in the game, see what happens.
DeGear hits the first one. The first year from Amherstburg, Ontario. That's a new one. I haven't heard of that place.
It probably is awful.
Or it's just a small town as well.
Same thing.
She hits both of them. 50 for the Saints, 74 for the Hawks. And Oriwa with the inbound. Swings it to Nafuente. Nafuente handling the ball up the court. Tightly contestedly guarded by Caldarelli. The rotation, the nice crossover by Nafuente. Airballs it, but the hustle by Oriwa to bring the ball back in bounds. But the Saints grab the board as Kennedy brings the ball up. Tightly contested by Nafuente. Swing to Martin. Riggin wide open, but buffs the J, and it's no good. And that's going to be Humber possession as it goes off the hand of a St. Clair Saint.
The right decision, though, by Riggin there. She had the wide open three. It's just a matter of execution. When you get those chances, you have to take them, especially when you're down by 24 points with 6:44 in the fourth quarter.
Some would say it would have been better to drive through the bucket, but she went with what she believed was best as Oriwa handles the ball up the court and passes it back to Nafuente. Screen maybe coming there on the left by Oriwa, but no, passes it to Lopez, who's handling it there. Into the key. Dribbling there is Humber. Pulling up for the J, no good. But the hustle by Oriwa, grabbing the board and pulling up, and the extra effort there by Oriwa, definitely showing Chioma Oriwa, showing the energy that she brings off of the bench.
And you have to love the competitive edge, up by 24 and still going for those hard baskets, not letting the Saints off the hook here just because they're down by double digits. Gotta love it.
And Oriwa grabbed the board off of Beryl Meefles. No good J. And that was the 1 point there for the Hawks. So Oriwa nails the first. And she hits them both. Good from the free throw line. A rarity in the free throws of Humber as Saints take the ball up. And Beeler turns on the Jets as Kennedy throws up a tray, but it's no good. Beeler hustles, but it's no good as Nafuente grabs the loose rebound and takes it up herself. Putting the team on the back is CJ Nafuente, unsuccessful in that attempt, but making the Saints pay for it as they foul her and sending her to the free throw line where Nafuente has been all solid today on the board.
Every time she gets hacked, she still finds a way to get a shot off. It's unbelievable. There's nothing they can do to bring her down. Bigger players, smaller players, she's going to get that shot off no matter who you are.
Tam and DeGear sub in for the Saints. And Nafuente hits the first. 6:04 left in the fourth quarter. 77-50. Make that 78-50 as the Hawks are up by 18 points.
She is just padding her stats at this point. She has 33 points out there. She almost has as much as the entire Saints do themselves.
And good rotation there by the Saints. Pull up for the tray by Beeler is no good, as Oriwa handles the board over Nafuente. Nafuente bringing the ball up the court. Played tightly by Beeler, but shoving her off occasionally is Nafuente, as Oriwa with the screen. Who switches back to Oriwa, taking it deep internally. Stuck. Swings it back out to Nafuente. But she pulls up for the tray. The rainbow, no good, but good hustle there by the Hawks to force the jump ball as Letitia Lopez rips the ball out of the Saints' hands, saying, no, 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 this is mine.
You have to like Nafuente's heads-up play there before she took that three where there was the switch, and she saw the mismatch with Kennedy and put the ball back down low.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a good call there by Nafuente as the Saints gain possession off of that. The possession arrow changes hands as they go into the interior of the Saints, as Tam goes up for the J. No good, but gets the call. Tam's been playing well today. He's got 4 points. 6 points. She's been playing great. Going up for the first free throw. Hits the first one, Tam. Tam, Daniel. Waka. Second one is no good as Oriwa handles the board to Nafuente. Swinging it up to Bayshard. Lopez. Into and back out for Lopez, and she bangs the tray. It has been threes galore for these Hawks today.
If you know college basketball, you know you cannot leave Letitia Lopez wide open like that at the top of the three.
Absolutely, as the Saints go up for a layup, no good, but they gain the possession out of bounds as Tristan Boyington is subbing in for Letitia Lopez. Cheyenne Reagan with the inbound for the Saints.
And some shoving down there between Kennedy and I believe Entree. Things are getting chippy with 4:40 left in a 30-point game.
Kennedy pulling up for the deep tray and hits it, practicing her best Steph Curry impression.
All the way from Vaughn, that one. Unbelievable.
Great shot there by the Saints. 54-81 is the score with 4:28 left in the fourth quarter as Boyington handles it over to Bayshard. To Nafuente, who drives for the easy lane and the easy bucket. No defense was played there by the Saints as no one came to capitalize and close the lane on CJ Nafuente.
35 points now. It just keeps piling up. She will not be stopped. It's unbelievable.
And DeGear handling it, swinging it to Tam. Tam with the pull around J. And she gets the bounce. So lucky bounce. That's her 9th point of the night. 56-83 for the Hawks. As CJ Nafuente is just taking over here, going all the way around multiple defenders and straight to the cup. My goodness, can CJ Nafuente be stopped, as that's her 37th point of the night.
She looked down on those defenders and said, what are those?
Especially on their defensive end. Absolutely, and there's going to be a foul there on the Hawks. Unfortunately for the other end, not getting back to the hustle after the wonderful juking by CJ Nafuente. Substitutions coming in. Bayshard subbing out, and subbing in is Anna Jacobs. And on the other end, subbing in for the Saints is Martin. Off on the first one is Beeler. 85-86 in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left. But she hits the second. Substitution coming in for the St. Clair Saints is Caldarelli subbing in for Beeler.
They have looked stronger on the floor with Caldarelli, but it might be too little, too late. They're down by 28 points.
Absolutely is the inbound coming here for the Hawks. Nafuente to Boyington. Boyington's got a big wide open lane. Could have pulled up for Trey. Chose not to. Wanted to share the sugar as she swings it to Anna Jacobs. To Nafuente, who drives to Oriwa.
It's that unselfish play that is the identity of this Hawks team.
But the fumble there by this Hawks team leads to the Saints taking the ball back. And Caldarelli pulls up for the J, no good. The Shauna Marion-esque shooting form. Not helping her out as Nafuente gets the pass after the Oriwa rebound. Boyington going to swing to Jacobs. Jacobs at the top of the key. She's going to pull up for it. She feeling it? No. Not enough on that, and that was an air ball there by Jacobs, unfortunately. And it's going to be the Saints' possession. Subbing in for Kennedy is Riley Welsh. Could that mean that this is really the end of the game for the Saints as Kennedy is going to the bench?
She has been their most reliable scorer today, and pulling her off the court does imply that maybe they're thinking it's better to get other people involved at this point.
And going up for the hurry in the harm is Cheyenne Riggin. Saints seem to be getting a little bit of momentum, but is it too little too late? Is it 85-57 in the 85-59, excuse me, in the fourth quarter? Timeout called by the Saints as Andy Kiss is believing that he can pull this around for his team, and on the other end, the Hawks look like they're coasting.
They are, and there's no shortage of enthusiasm from the bench. They're supporting their teammates out there, and that really has been a mainstay of this team, that positive attitude. It's less so like that over on the Saints side. It looks like they just want to get out of here on the bus and back to Windsor.
A very solemn look there for the St. Clair Saints as well. But on the other end for the Hawks, the crowd is electric. Both the men's and women's team are feeling it on the bench and having a good time watching their Hawks go out and play. And for everyone here in the crowd, the mood is very, very happy.
Well, you know what would have been the silver lining in this afternoon was when that young man almost won the $1,000 at the half.
Absolutely. We had a very young man from watching for the St. Clair Saints nail not only a layup and a free throw easily, but nearly nailing the three-pointer to gain the $1,000 at the halftime show. If I was him, I would have hit that J.
Would you have?
Oh, I would have. All day, every day. Heading to the free throw line is Cheyenne Riggin. We would have played my highlight tape, but it's too much fire.
Yes, we with the processors we have here, can't be certain it wouldn't cause this whole place to go up in flames.
Absolutely. Highlight real plays from me.
Just like my mixtape.
Just like my mixtape as Riggins nails the free throw. 60-85 is the score. As the Saints are playing all the way up court as Oriwa gets the inbound to Boyington. Boyington handles it. Looks like she wants to give it back to Oriwa and does. The give and go? No, she does not opt for that as Oriwa holds on to it, posting up on Welsh. Going up the little extra step, but gets the push, and Welsh is obviously unhappy with that call, and the Saints are looking deflated, just like Tom Brady.
Oriwa there just looked so strong on the ball. She backed down the defender the entire way, then lost her with a fake and went up to the basket before drawing the foul. Unbelievable play.
And that's going to be 4 team fouls for the Saints. A little bit of conversation coming in there with Andy Kiss, as it looks like someone on the Saints team may have fouled out. And in fact, the foul gets charged to Tam, and she has fouled out of the game. Subbing in for Tam is Tori Hanzor. Oriwa at the free throw line for 2. 85-60 is the score with 2:35 left in the fourth quarter. And Oriwa nails the first one. Good on the second as Oriwa hits both of them, showing that consistency. Maybe spending a little bit of extra time in the practice. And Cheyenne Riggin handles the ball up the court, pushing it. Got a lot of energy, but not a lot of enemies as she goes straight up in the lane and gets the harm.
You know, she started from the bottom, and now she is here. It's just awesome to see these girls develop into what they are now.
And it seems like she's not on her worst behavior as Riggin makes it straight to the free throw line. And she nails the first one. A little bit of ice water in her veins, but unfortunately for the Saints, they are behind by a hefty clip.
Riggin has been a little ball of energy out there. No one girl should have all that power.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, all of the lights are still staying on, so that means the Hawks are still playing well. And it looks like another foul is going to be charged to the Hawks. Unfortunately for them, they have 5 team fouls, and it looks like the Saints are going back to the free throw line. May have been an error there on the rebounding by Oriwa. May have jumped a little bit too early as Welsh is sent to the line.
Getting a little sloppy here, a little too comfortable maybe with their 26-point lead, only 2.5 minutes left. It's very uncharacteristic for the Hawks. If you watch their games, you know that they don't stop until the final whistle.
Absolutely. And some would say they may need to drink a little bit more water if they're trying to stay a bit more comfortable. Referees warning Oriwa. She's been jumping too early, and that may lead to another line violation as Welsh misses the first, but is trying to attempt again on the second to get money.
She's got money on her mind, and her mind is on her money.
And indeed, she does keep her mind on the money as she nails the second shot. 62-87 is the score with 2:28 left in the fourth. Oriwa handles it back to Nafuente as Nafuente handles the ball up court. Swing over to Boyington. Watch out for Anna Jacobs. She's been moving around a lot. But no, they're going to bring it back to Nafuente. Is she going to pull up for no? Oh, she jukes out. Hands her and bangs the three in, making it look easy. CJ Nafuente as she has got 40 points.
And the crowd loves it. The Hawks men team has just shown up to the building. They've got their hands in the air. No Fuente bringing people together.
No Fuente, more like on Fuente. As the Saints fumble the ball out, but it's still going to be their possession as CJ Nafuente is looking to check out. Great game for CJ Nafuente with 40 points. As Leticia Lopez is looking to take CJ Nafuente out.
We were talking yesterday about a possible matchup, Kobe Bryant versus CJ Nafuente. Who do you have?
Well, unfortunately for CJ, I'd take Kobe Bryant.
Oh.
And the swing there. Off the rim, no good by the Saints. Swing over there by the Saints. Deep interior, no good. And that's going to be a foul charge to the Hawks. Fifth team foul on the free throw line is Welsh. Tough to come back as it's 90-62 with 1:34 left in the quarter.
I think at this point in time, it's just about finishing strong, doing all the little things, getting some confidence back before the end of the game.
Absolutely, and making reminders to themselves to review the game tape and see what went wrong and what went right. As Welsh hits the first but misses the second as Oriwa handles the rebound. Swing to Lopez. Over to Boyington. Back to Jacobs. To Lopez. Interior to Oriwa, who's getting double teamed. They're going to call a jump ball, and that may be possession to the Hawks. And indeed.
Gotta love the fact that neither team is mailing it in right now. They're both playing hard right till the very end. It looks good.
15 foul there for the Saints, and that's going to be, I guess the jump ball is going to be leading to a free throw or a reach in. So Oriwa is sent to the line. Interesting series of events here at the end of the game here for the Hawks and the Saints. As the substitution is coming in for the Saints, that is number 20, Kayla DeGear. And no good on the first one is Oriwa.
Hard iron. The Hawks, though, with 90 points today, they scored into the 90s yesterday, too. This is a potent offense.
And misses the second, but Jacobs grabs the rebound, but fumbles it, and now it is the Saints' ball. Going up the court is Martin swinging to Caldarelli. Oh, but the fumble there leading to Lopez with the steal. Double team there by the Saints, and throwing the ball away is Lopez as Welsh grabs it.
Pass.
But it seems like a little bit of a scramble and a frenzy is occurring, but Boyington grabs it and keeps it in control with 56 seconds left in the game. 90-62 is the score, and Humber may look to just hold the ball here.
Lopez got away with one there. That no-look behind-the-back pass was careless. She doesn't need to do that, especially at this point in the game.
And going up is Oriwa. The roll, but the harm. No count, no bucket though, but Oriwa has been playing well, showing that excellent hustle that she does. Oh, so well, as she hits the free throw line. And nailing the first one is Oriwa.
I just didn't think we said anything about the other team's girls.
And no good on the second. Welsh commands the rebound as Caldarelli grabs it. 38 seconds left in the game. Martin handling it. Screen there by Hanzor. And Martin's going to take it all the way. No good. But the hustle there by the Saints, keeping the ball alive and energetic. Hanzor up. No good.
Oh, and hard contact there underneath the basket. Things are getting a little chippy here.
And there's a swing in there to Jacobs. Moving around. Holding the ball is Beryl Miefel. No good, though. Looking like a call is going to be made there. Unsure about what. But the Saints are going to grab possession.
I think it might have been 5 seconds in the key on the Hawks. That's the only thing I could see is the turnover there.
Inbound there for the Saints. 5.4 seconds left. Going to pull it up for the final J. And it's going to be the Hawks succeeding in the victory against the Saints. 91-63, held back by the wonderful play of CJ Nafuente, holding down this offensive team. Hawks have been playing well, and definitely one to watch as the Hawks take down the Saints. Good game overall, tightly contested for the first half, but in the second half, the Hawks just pulled away through the play of CJ Nafuente and highlights from Latricia Lopez as well as Bayshard.
A very surprising finish. It really looked like the Saints had a really great chance in this in the first half, but they just couldn't keep up with that Hawks offense.
Fantastic game played there by the Hawks and the Saints. This has been Josh Rawlings and Stephen Boyles. And we'll be coming back at you with more action at 3 p.m. with the men's basketball team coming up next.